Water thundered through evergreen subdivisions like a wrathful river, transforming manicured lawns into swamps, and upscale dwellings into sinking vessels. Toilets groaned, basements flooded, and a leather sectional drifted by a bay window. 911 lines rang with desperation. My house is sinking. Sirens wailed as fire trucks and police cars screeched through the immaculate streets of this Arizona subdivision. This wasn't a burst pipe or a flash flood. It was me standing on the ridge. Muddy boots planted a bat-sized wrench in my hand. The rusted hell valve I had just cranked open shone dimly under the dawn sky. Below, anarchy opened as my old irrigation reservoir regained land taken from my ranch. I'm Jack Cololton, 63, and for 40 years, I've worked this land outside Flagstaff, handed down from my father and his father before him. That morning, while I stood there watching water pour through 58 illegally constructed homes, I saw her, Lydia Marsh, HOA president, soaked in her velvet tracksuit, yelling into her phone. She glared at me and she yelled, "He did it on purpose." Perhaps I did, but it did not begin this way. 3 years ago, a smooth developer named Ethan Holt rolled up in a shiny SUV, flashing his smile and calling my ranch paradise for Verde Valley builders. He offered a gated eco-community that would make me wealthy. I rejected him. He smiled undeterred. Think it over. Months later, surveyors trespassed. I ran them off. Then came letters saying my land's title was cloudy, rezoned by the state. My brother-in-law Carl, a retired county attorney, sniffed out a rat. "They're burying you in paperwork, Jack. By the time we filed a complaint, bulldozers were rolling, earth foundations for 6 homes were poured before we got a hearing." Lydia Marsh strutted in soon after, all perfect curls and sharp heels, introducing herself as HOA president. "We're delighted to have such a neighbor as you." She cooped, as if I'd given away the land I told her to leave my property. She smiled. "Progress occurs, Mr. Colton." The house sprouted like weeds, 58, all with streets called Aspen Glow and Meadow Vista, their backyards and sewers spilling onto my northern pasture. Carl battled, but their attorneys were merciless. The county invoked eminent domain, calling my ranch underutilized. Then came the last insult, an HOA bill for $1,892 signed by Lydia, charging me for a fence they constructed on my land. That evening, gazing at the stars, I remembered the old dam my grandfather created, its gates rusting shut, its pipes still coiling under the stolen acres. I did not intend revenge, simply a reminder of whose land they'd stolen. The following day, I carried my wrench to the ridge. 5 hours later, the valve creaked open. By evening, water lapped at their footings. By dawn, Evergreen Estates was a lake. As sirens wailed, a boy perhaps 10 sat on his porch holding a waterlogged teddy bear waving at me. I stood still. Think, crack. A deafening snap rang out. The dam wall, untouched by me, split wide with a jagged scar spewing water like a ruptured artery. My heart plummeted. That wall constructed by my father had weathered decades. Now abandoned and weakened, it was falling apart, and I'd opened the floodgates. Below, a mother pulled her child from a floating pool. A teenager skidded off his bike. An old man gazed at his underwater lawn, newspaper in hand. Lydia, soaked, waved at a fire truck. The neighborhood wasn't flooded. It was doomed. I dropped the wrench and raced to Carl's cabin, high and dry. The dam's breaking, I gasped into my phone. Carl's voice was grim. "You opened the valve, just the irrigation lines." I said the wall gave alone. Silence. "If a person dies, Jack, no attorney can save you." I skidded to a halt at the edge of the flood. Water gushed with a propane tank in tow. People ran uphill, some with children, others with dogs. The boy with the bear was there, his mother waiting, crying. Then crunch. The dam wall collapsed, releasing a gigantic wave. I left my truck at the gravel path, throwing out blankets, a medkit, water bottles. "Up here," I shouted. Lydia was seething with rage. "You'll die in prison." I didn't even have time to respond. I saw the old man lying face up in the flood water, dead. I swam against the current, cold and savage. My boots were dragging, but I clutched his collar, kicking until we got onto the bank. A neighbor assisted in pulling him out. He coughed alive. Lydia continued screaming, "Arrest him!" The boy's mother came between us. He saved my son and that man. You built on his property. Lydia gaped, then stormed away. Then I viewed Etta, signing, bobbing in the water. Evergreen Estates Phase 2. Luxury townhomes soon. They weren't going to stop by dawn. The neighborhood was war zone, police tape, idling fire trucks, reporters wading through filth. Sheriff Ramsey, an old friend, sighed. You opened the gates? I nodded. My irrigation system. My right? He gnawed his lip. The dam, not me. It was old, gave out. He sized me. You're not arrested, but don't leave town. Lydia marched over, reporters in tow. He flooded us. A mic jabbed at me. Domestic terrorism, I laughed. If somebody builds on your lawn and you water it, who's to blame? Carl arrived, handing out deeds and permits to Lydia. He said, You trespassed 58 times. That's a lawsuit bigger than this valley. She hissed, I'll ruin you. But Carl just smiled. Read the fine print. Ethan Holt drove up in his SUV with a smirk. Insurance will term this an act of God. We'll sue, take your property, and construct Phase 2. I stood clenched fists. You stole, lied, bullied. I'm still standing. His smile skipped. I saw hard hats by the Phase 2 sign that night, planning more. Then suddenly a bulldozer came to life, targeting my southern fence. I ran for my shotgun, sprinting. Turn around, I yelled. It didn't halt. Crunch me. Fence splintered. Cattle stampeded. I made a warning shot. The driver, a young nervous kid, stopped dead. I was informed. This is Phase 2, he stuttered. You're trespassing. I informed him I've got evidence. I called Carl. This is war. The news portrayed me as a madman rancher inundates houses. They disregarded the thievery, the counterfeits. My herd disbanded. Ditches overflowed. I hired 2 area teenagers, Luke and Noah, to repair the fence. One day Noah discovered a leaking pipe by the ridge, new feeding the construction. They tapped my reservoir. Carl hired inspectors. It was theft designed into their scheme. That evening, I discovered a blueprint indicating their water line ran over an unstable limestone trench. A rumble awakened me at morning. A luxury house had disappeared into a sinkhole, pipes cracked, sparks flying. Neighbors cried. Lydia accused me. I videoed the shoddy trench. No braces. Medics pulled the wedged couple out alive. Another rumble. Phase 2's road subsided. Ethan arrived wan. He knew they'd constructed on a fault. That night, Carl and I stood by the wreckage, 22 houses inundated, 3 subsiding, 1 lost. National headlines. Carl said, lighting a cigarette. I pointed east. They're staking more land. Carl's eyes darkened. They'll claim it all. I nodded. Time for the real flood under starlight. I cranked the east reservoir valve. Water gushed underground, filling ancient channels. By dawn, Phase 2's foundation was mud concrete cracked. Lydia screamed, You're finished. I stood firm. This is my land. Ethan arrived with suits. County men. You're sabotaging progress. Once said, Carl held up proof of stolen water and unstable land. We're filing a class action suit. They backed off. That night, my cameras caught Lydia cutting my fence, spray painting. Old men can't stop progress. By noon, she was cuffed, charged with vandalism. Ethan got a call. Permits revoked. Phase 2 passed away, but my east well was dry. They'd drained my water table. Cattle died. Grass parched. Carl paced. We have a month at most. I took out Grandpa's 1947 aquifer map. There's a deep line beneath the mesa. We drilled striking water on day 3. A geyser cattle drank. The ranch survived, but Ethan sued for a land seizure that my defective dam posed a risk to the public. They wanted the ridge's view. I submitted the county a 146-page report, deeds footage, Karen's arrest, and a live feed of my new well. The seizure was denied. At a bonfire, neighbors brought pie silence, a carved cow. The old man I saved said, You were right. Carl warned, They'll return. I nodded. We're stronger now. The land was legacy, not just dirt. I flooded their homes not from hate, but hope they'd learn. Maybe they did.